What's going on, guys? This is Patrick with Blue Heron Construction, and I wanted to go over the insurance claim process with y'all today. Kind of wanted to do an overview of what you can expect and try to get accomplished during your insurance claim that you're calling in for a homeowner's insurance policy. So first of all, we had a video that talked about this last, kind of what to, uh, you know, if you've never called in a home insurance claim before, what you should be doing first. And the very first thing is finding a competent contractor for your job. So for this example, I'm going to be using a roof just like I did last time because those are just the most common home insurance claims that we usually see other than flood claims. And when it comes to getting started with the process, you got to find a contractor who understands the insurance process. What that's going to do is going to save you a lot of time, a lot of headaches from when starting the process of having to deal with the insurance because the contractor would be the person that your go-to of how things are supposed to go down, what needs to be talked with the insurance, and how the claim gets taken care of. They're going to follow the paperwork, and then you can go about your day of your hardworking day of family and work and whatever you've got going on. You can take care of that with a contractor is the one that's managing the project. So what you want that contractor to do is make sure that you have damage. So in the case of a roof, they need to get on top of the roof. They need to inspect it. There are cases where you can use drones to inspect roofs. The traditional way, obviously, is to get up on the roof actually and to take a look. Either way, as long as you can find damage, you can find damage with the drone where shingles are missing, hail damage as well. It may be a safer route for a larger roof, something that's 2-story, 3-story plus high. That might be a safer route, so you don't have to worry about someone falling off from on top of your roof. But the contractor needs to inspect for damage, and they need to make sure that there's damage on that roof. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to call in a claim where there's one shingle missing, right? Now, it'd be different though if they got up there and there was one shingle that was missing, but they saw that the other shingles around it, that they were, the seals were broken on them, and that the nails were, the fasteners were popping through it, and it wasn't, tied down properly, basically. Then you probably have wind damage in that whole area. They'll look for creases, things of that nature. So you don't always see it from the ground. You only see most of that damage, obviously, from the top when you're actually on top of the roof. And so they need to check for damage before you call in a claim. Uh, some contractors will have certifications in that. There's many here, especially in Texas, that don't. Um, you know, I myself, I have a certification from Hague Engineering, and many contractors can have the same type of certifications. And like I said, that helps out with them understanding what the insurance is looking for and how they can help you get an insurance claim passed. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to call the claim and the insurance company comes out there and is like, well, there's one shingle missing. We're not paying for it. In fact, this is not going to meet your deductible. It's only like $200 worth of damage. That's going to come out of pocket anyways. There was no reason of calling that claim. But if you have someone who has some type of certification or understands the insurance process and what the inspection is going to look like and what the insurance is looking for to get that claim pushed forward, that will help you greatly with a headache of having to try to deal with the insurance and pushing them to go ahead and approve the claim for you. So once the damage has been seen, and everyone agrees that there's damage up there, we go ahead and call a claimant. So it's pretty simple. We find out who your homeowner's insurance is. So let's just say your homeowner's insurance is Allstate. Not a great company, to work with homeowners insurance, but hey, let's say that, that's who you have, and we look at the phone number and call them up, and there's a basically it'll be like a phone directory on the line. So when you're calling them, it'll say press 1 for new claims, press 2 for this. So obviously you'll press 2 for new claims. And when you're doing this calling in, you're going to call in the claim with your contractor. So what's going to allow you to do, obviously, is you don't call in claims all the time, but the contractors do. So they know exactly what the insurance is going to be asking for when they're calling in a claim. They're going to be able to answer a lot of the questions that are going to be asked from the insurance company. Secondly, it's a lot faster when the contractor's on there because when they get a question asked about, how many shingles are damaged, and what type of damage is there, what was the hail date or the wind, the event date, things of that nature, they will be able to answer those questions where you're just not on the sideline saying, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I think it happened last year. I think, and then sometimes you say something you're not supposed to say, like, I think this thing happened like 3 years ago. Well, your insurance is not going to cover that damage if it happened 3 years ago, right? They're going to say, well, that's kind of your fault for not calling a claim earlier. So you're going to be responsible at that point. So again, use a competent contractor, get on a three-way call, or just have them sit right next to you and hand them the phone, or they have their phone. I call. The way that I work is I sit down with a client and so here, what's your the phone number for your insurance company? Call up the insurance company, and then I'm on the phone and I'm on speaker, and then I get permission. I get permission from the homeowner to go ahead and talk with the insurance company, and then they can listen to the whole conversation. So we call in a claim, and they say, okay, we're going to send someone out there. The insurance sends somebody out there to inspect for the damages, and that person is called the insurance adjuster. The adjuster will schedule an appointment. Usually they'll either schedule an appointment on the spot with you while you're on the phone calling the claim, or they will call you back within 24, maybe even 48 hours to go ahead and schedule that appointment. Uh, what you need for the contractor to do is to be available for that appointment. Now, at the same time, the contractor may have other appointments with other people during that period of time. It is very common to reschedule the appointment. Usually the adjuster will call the homeowner up. Sometimes they will call the contractor, but I can tell you, as the contractor, they try to go through the homeowner, because for them, if they don't have anybody else on the roof with them, it's easier for them to do their job, which is usually not pass claims, and to do the inspection without another professional on top of the roof. They like to do that a lot. So it's important for you to be in contact with your contractor at the same time as your insurance is calling you up and telling you, hey, the appointment is on Friday. Today's Tuesday, and it's going to be at 10 a.m. So you text up the contractor, hey, 10 a.m., are you available? The contractor says yes, no. So let's say I said no, then the contractor will say, hey, can we do Monday at 10 a.m.? I have availability then, or later that day on Friday, I can do that. And then, like I said, the adjuster is not really going to argue with you about when you're going to be at that, when they're going to be able to show up at the appointment. They just need to do their job, basically. So once the adjuster has scheduled the appointment, everyone's going to show up on that day. You can be home. You don't have to be home. You just have to give permission for the contractor and for the adjuster to take a look at the roof, and they'll do their job, right? The adjuster will walk around the house. They're going to walk from your backyard, the front yard, and look for different types of damage. Look for damage from wind, as well as hail. They're looking for hail. They're looking for gutter damage. They're looking for window being beat up. They're looking for different things that will help show that there was evidence of an event of storm damage. Same thing with wind as well. They're going to look for broken trees. They're going to look for, tree branches. They're going to look for all different things, debris that was flying around, shingles that are missing, things of that nature. And again, your contractor should feel very confident and comfortable that, hey, you've got a claim on your hands that will get approved. So we're going to go with the route on this right here, making this process easy, as the adjuster saw what the contractor saw, or the contractor convinced him that there was enough damage, and then yes, you got an approval on an estimate. So very possible that the adjuster will say, hey, yeah, I think there's enough damage. They technically won't say that to a contractor, because what they don't want to do is say that you've been approved for a claim, and then it goes to the front office, and the desk adjuster looks at it. It's like, I'm not going to approve it. So they don't want to say that it was approved, it wasn't approved. So the desk adjuster is going to make the final call. But as a contractor, I will continue to hound about it, in a nice way to them, like, hey, I think there's enough damage up here. What do you think? It just looks like this roof is pretty messed up. I don't think it's repairable. What do you think? So I'm asking the questions to see if I can feel like I have a good answer for, you, the client, before even an answer comes in from the insurance company. Like, yeah, that guy seemed pretty confident that, there was a good, you know, approved. There's going to be approved. This roof is damaged and it's going to be approved, which is really nice, right? So you try to get that beforehand. But either way, you'll get a phone call or even a letter or an email saying, hey, yeah, we approved you for this claim. So again, this is talking about when you are approved. We'll do another video when you're not approved, okay? So what's going to happen is the insurance company is going to tell you, hey, we're going to write up an estimate. And this is another thing too that we've talked about in the last video. Hey, contractor, give me an estimate. Well, that's again the old way of doing an insurance claim. It used to be, let me get three contractors, let me get three different estimates. Yeah, that's done away with for a number of years now, but still a lot of people believe that's the way to go. Uh, the insurance will create the estimate for you. So you are in an insurance claim. When you call in a claim and you get approval, you are responsible for your deductible. It's the only payment you have to make. So a lot of people always ask me all the time, how much am I, going to be paying out of this? Like, how much is it going to cost me? I'm like, well, it's going to cost you your deductible, nothing else. There's no other, you know, um, nothing else unless you want some type of upgrade or whatever, and that's going to be additional costs. But you are responsible for your deductible, and the insurance picks up and flips the rest of the bill. So, guys, if you're not willing to pay the deductible, then you shouldn't probably be calling it a claim. Um, it's just the way it is. It's the price to pay to play the insurance game. That's the way it is, and there's no going around it. At least not legally. And you don't want to know what happens to you if you get if it's taken to a legal route where they find out that you did not pay your deductible. That's just probably not a topic we're going to talk about right now. So, anyways, you're going to get an estimate from the insurance company. The insurance company is going to basically have a line item list from their system. It's usually a software system called Xactimate's, the one that we usually see, and that will tell them the real pricing for in the market today for labor and materials. And so it'll be a list of things that need to be done. So, roof tear off, shingles, felt tear off, removing pipe jacks, replacing pipe jacks, installing felt. It'll have a line item list, and each one of these line items will have a dollar amount that's right next to it. Like, this is the amount that it's going to cost. This is the measurements of the roof. It's going to be a 50 square roof, for example. It'll say how many squares there are. Roofers go by squares, right? They don't go by feet necessarily. It's a 10 by 10 area is what a one square is. And so if it's 50 square, it's a pretty decent sized roof. And it'll have everything broken down. Now, what the contractor can do with an insurance estimate is determine if there are some line items that are missing on there. And that happens very, very, very often. And I talked about this in the last video as well. The insurance is well known to keeping line items off, because for them, if, hey, they get an incompetent contractor and they don't understand what they're looking at and what should be on that estimate, they're going to miss the line item. So if that line item was, for example, drip edge, and drip edge is like, $500 or so, and they have, 1,000, call-ins for claims, and there's 1,000 line items that are missing, for just the drip edge, how much money does the insurance company save from not having to pay on that, right? So again, a competent contractor will look at it like, hey, look, it's code. Like here in Texas, it's code to have drip edge on your roof, right? So the insurance needs to be paying for that certain product. It needs to be paid for, the labor needs to be paid for, and so forth. And that will usually increase the estimate amount. It doesn't increase any money that goes back into your pocket. It doesn't go back to you. It goes to the contractor doing the job right. That's what you want. The contractor is getting paid off a real market price based on the insurance's estimate. The insurance is not overinflating their price. I get this all the time. I thought this was only a $10,000 roof, and now it's it's a $20,000 roof. Can I get some money off the top of that? No, that's not how that works at all. The insurance is saying, hey, the minimum price of this roof is $20,000. They've determined that through secret marketers for shopping for materials and labor in this area today. So I'm in the Houston area, for example. The real market price that they have on their Xactimate system is specifically for the Houston area, just like they have real market pricing specifically if you lived in New York or in California and maybe Sacramento, someplace else. The market pricing changes, and so they're going off of that. The insurance has no intent of trying to overpay you on a claim. Why do they want to overpay you? Why do they want to overpay the contractor? They're not paying for that. What they're paying for is they're paying for somebody who's going to do the job right, where you don't call them back up in a year to have to try to do this whole process all over again because the contractor did, pretty shoddy job. Just installation was improper. The material that they installed was used or messed up in the first place. They knew it and they were just trying to save money. At the end of the day, the money comes from somewhere, right? It's not just, hey, I had a $2,000 deductible in this roofer guy because the insurance paid an extra 2 grand because they missed certain line items, told me I didn't have to worry about the extra $2,000. Like, that comes from somewhere, guys. It's not just disappears in thin air. It costs money for that labor and it costs money for that materials. And so if they're giving a $2,000 discount, it's not $2,000 worth of profit that you're giving the contract. And that's what people don't understand. You're paying for what you get for, right? When you go to McDonald's and you pay for a cheeseburger for $1, you're getting a dollar McDonald's cheeseburger. But when you go to Five Guys and you buy that cheeseburger for, $5+, and yeah, it's an expensive cheeseburger, but you know what? It's not a McDonald's cheeseburger when you bite into it, right? You know automatically there's good quality to it. It's the same thing with the roof. But the thing is that this is a very important investment, right? So your foundation and the roof, most important parts of your house, you don't want to go cheap. You don't want a McDonald's roof, right? You don't want something really cheap. You want a really good, outstanding roof, Five Guys quality type of roof, you know what I mean? And if you don't like Five Guys, I'm sorry. I'm just giving an example of the difference between a, something that's inexpensive and something that has a little bit more worth, and that's exactly what you're trying to get for with your insurance claim. So your contractor will review the estimate with you. They say, hey, we're missing some line items. The contractor will take care of that. They will request a supplement from the insurance company. Hey, insurance company, you forgot line item this and this, and the insurance company will usually be like, yeah, you got me. You found out that I was trying to, gyp you, or sometimes they do accidentally forget a line item, and that's okay. Just get that corrected. And once that's all said and done, and the contractor's like, I'm taking care of that, let's go ahead and review the estimate together. We agree that this is the scope of work that needs to be done. Let's go over what the insurance is currently paying, because the insurance is going to pay you out in 2 payments. Usually it's going to be a payment as an initial payment to pay for materials and labor. And then afterwards, once everything's all said and done, they'll pay the rest of the build for you. So you're going to get, like I said, the first initial payment taking care of a lot of things in the front end. And when it comes to the insurance payment as well, they're going to pay according, like I said, the AC, they call the ACV, which is the actual cash value up front, and you'll get that first. A lot of people get confused thinking that that's the only payment they get. Oh, the insurance paid me only $10,000, and this roof is, it says on the deal that's a $20,000 roof. Like, what do I do? Well, there's some back end money. The contractor can explain that to you, that it's recoverable. Most of your claims, when it comes to an RCV value, insurance policy is recoverable. You don't have to worry about, hey, am I going to get extra money? The insurance will pay it. It's just the work has to get done first, and they have to see that it was done by a competent contractor, that the contractor has a W-9, that the contractor, has insurance, the contractor, filled out all the stuff that needs to be filled out in order for them to release the last part of that claim. They want to see the deductible being paid, right? So if you're not paying the deductible, you're forfeiting the rest of the money. So if it was a $20,000 claim and you had a $2,000, responsibility, which is your deductible, and $10,000 paid out in the front end, but you don't pay your deductible, first of all, the contractor's not going to take on the job, right? Because he's not going to be able to afford to do that. And secondly, you're going to forfeit that $8,000 to the insurance company because you can't prove that you paid your deductible. Why would you want to give $8,000 back to the insurance company? Why won't you just take that money and go ahead and throw it towards a good quality roof, maybe get some upgrades to it, and not have to worry about it for the next 20, 30 years? I'm just saying, it's, you got to play the game the insurance company, gives you, and you got to work with people that understand what games they're playing. So once you've reviewed everything, you say, okay, we've got an initial payment here, up front from the insurance company. Um, you and the contractor come to an agreement. You come to an agreement on the products you're going to use. You're going to come to an agreement on, the day, the time that this is going to, you're going to start the build. You're going to come to an agreement on, even upfront payment. Um, Initially you need to pay something down, and what that does is that it allows the contractor to go ahead and set a date, a solid date, and to get the contract to get the build started. Uh, I don't know many contractors, and I don't know if it's the best idea for a contractor to take no money down and just to go ahead and do something. That usually is not something that we see at all. But usually you will take some type of down payment that, like I said, you come to an agreement with them, whether it's, the first check from the insurance company, maybe the deductible. I usually, with our company, we collect the deductible up front, like, hey, I will just start on your deductible and then I'll collect the rest once I go ahead and finish the build. So that way you can see that, hey, it's been done. And then, you can say, all right, you did your job type of deal. So yeah, that's usually how we go about it. And then, um, like I said, once everything is agreed upon, the build is scheduled, the contractor will take care of everything from there. They're going to, get the supplies delivered. They're going to get the laborers, out there as well. You want to make sure that, hey, that the materials that are coming, they're coming by some type of freight truck. They're coming, in a on a pallet, and they're all bagged up properly in the original packaging. You don't want a contractor that's going to be driving up in a truck, and what they're doing is they have just a pile of shingles and they're counting the shingles. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and throwing it on your your driveway. Because then you know that those materials were there's a few things that probably came from there, either stolen, they probably used materials, maybe they even came from the dumpster. Seeing it all, it's something very common that we see. So you make sure that, when you see the materials, that they are being brought in, and it is professionally, dropped off for you. Uh, what will happen is the night before you have your build, you will move your vehicles out of the driveway, even the ones in the garage. Why do you move your vehicles from the garage out? At least before. It doesn't have to be the night before. I say usually the night before, but you can do it like right before the guys show up, because they're going to show up around 6:30 a.m., 7. So if you're not up before then you need to move your vehicle so they have room to go ahead and put the materials down, as well as the waste basket down, whatever they plan on using for waste to carry out, um, all of the materials that they're going to tear off. So if you leave your vehicle in the garage, and this is something obviously from years ago that when we started and we saw it and we're like, we can't do that again, is, guys are using hammers and they're knocking out nails, and, and installing, even some decking that maybe need to be fixed, things like that. And some debris sometimes will fall from the garage onto your vehicles. So we don't want that to happen. So I always tell people, just take the vehicle out, put it on the side of the house, put it in your neighbor's, yard, or driveway if they allow you to. Just get it out of the way for the next day or two. And that way there's no damage to your vehicles. You don't have to call in another claim for something different. So the guys are going to come out. They're going to go ahead and, do the build. Many contractors, when it comes to it, usually take a couple of days to get a build done. It can be done in one day. Many of them do. We've done many builds in one day, but to have the expectation, it's going to take a couple of days for them to, to finish off a project that large. And that will make sure that, you're not disappointed when they're not done on the first day that you wanted them to be done. So once they go ahead and finish up the project, they're going to clean up. They should be doing a good job of using a magnet sweep to pick up all the nails. Thousands and thousands of nails are going to fall from the sky, guys. I tell you this, I'm going to say most, I'm going to say all, because I'm going to fit everyone on this. All contractors will get almost every nail, but they will not get every single nail that falls from your roof. It's just the way it is. When you have thousands of nails falling from the roof, they're going to miss one or two. And so don't, hold them accountable when you see, hey, there was one nail there on the floor. They should be using the magnet sweep. They will be using the magnet sweep, but there's going to be one or two that gets away from them. Just know that for the next couple of weeks, then just be careful walking around the yard. Make sure your pets are careful. You walk the yard first, make sure that they're good to go when it's time for them to go use the restroom, things like that. But usually in a couple of weeks, you get some rain, and any nails that are left over, they'll pretty much just like go into the dirt, into the ground, and you'll never see them again. But most of it will be done and picked up properly. But you're going to review the build with the contractor. You're going to walk around the house, make sure that everything's to your liking, that if you had any upgrades to install, maybe you added some additional gutters to your house, you're like, hey, walk around, make sure that everything's good, everything's the way you want it to be. And once it's all said and done, you're going to sign a little, usually they'll have a document or something that says, hey, this is a completed project, sign something with them. That'll just say, hey, they did a job that they were supposed to do, and you're in agreement with it. And now the process, now here's the part of the process where there's a waiting game. Your contractor is probably waiting on the last payment from the insurance company at this point. So what's going to happen is once everything's done and the contractor shows the insurance company some pictures and says, hey, we've completed the project, here's all our paperwork. Here's all the supplements that you forgot, and the initial estimate that you're written up, and the insurance company says, okay, everything's all said and done. We're going to go ahead and process this check out to the clients. It's going to be you. You're going to get the insurance check. That takes a while. It takes a few weeks to get that through. So don't panic. Like, man, I need to pay the contractor right now. Like, when's it going to get paid? Unfortunately, the insurance company will take its time, its sweet time to pay something out, and we've had even months where it's taken for that to getting paid. Just know that you don't have to worry about it until the money comes in. So most of your contractors should be just like, hey, like whenever you get paid from your insurance is when you're going to pay us. We'll wait on that. Now there are some that want it up front. I don't know why, but if you're going to get paid and you can't front the money as a contractor, then I don't know, but they should be able to say, we're going to wait for it, and it can take a couple of weeks to a couple of months. And once that insurance payment is in, that's the contractor's money. That's the final payment towards that job that they did. So you need to make sure that you get that deposited and then write a check for that same amount of money to the contractor and pay them off so they can go ahead and say this, this ticket's done. We're done with the project and you're good to go. And you have your roof. Having a competent contractor gives you warranties. It gives you labor warranty. It should give it'll definitely give you the material warranty that you need. It'll protect your house being done properly, everything being done properly. The good thing is that if something happens to your roof, it'll happen within the first couple of storms. You'll see if it was installed improperly, and those warranties are valid. It won't matter because the contractor will come back out if there's any issues and they will take care of it. Like, hey, I saw that, you saw that there was a leak in this corner over here. Call in the contractor. They'll come out, they'll take care of it. And a lot of times they'll even take care of the damage on the inside. So if they're like, hey, there's a little bit of, water damage here on the ceiling of my house now because, the roof wasn't installed properly. Well, that's part of the warranty, right? Like, we'll go ahead and take care of that and paint that and make sure it looks nice and that it's not, moist and wet and everything dried out. So they'll get done right. And that's the good thing. So that's kind of the overall process right there. So again, finding contractors first, making sure that, you got damage up there second, calling in the claim with the contractor is the next step. Scheduling an appointment with the adjuster comes after that. You're going to review the estimate once approved with your contractor. Your contractor is going to go over products and review the payment with you, whatever coming to terms or whatever that's going to be, sign an agreement together. So that way both of you are legally obligated to each other. And that goes both ways, honestly, because, if the contractor decides that he's not going to do something, like, hey, we got an agreement on this, so legally you can hold them liable, but at the same time the contractor can hold you liable, saying, hey, look, you gave us the job, like we're doing the job for you that you hired us to do, allow us to do it. That it's on both sides, so it's for both protection. You're going to schedule the build out. Once the build is complete, you're going to review the build, and then you're going to collect the final insurance payment and pay the contract. You're going to be done. And that's the way that you want it to do. You want it to be very simple, very easy. You want the contractor to, to be helpful to the point where this is not a headache at all. And it's not even something that you have to worry about. So that's the great thing about this process is just when you understand it, it'll help you save yourself a lot of time and a lot of money. And, you don't want to, like I said, go with a contractor that's going to be shady and try to, work outside the deductible and so forth, because it just ends up costing you at the end of the day. You don't want that. Go through the process, do it the way it's supposed to be done, and you'll be good to go. So hopefully that was a good overview. Y'all have any questions, y'all feel free to comment, and I'd be happy to answer any of that. But thanks a lot for your time. I know it's valuable, and y'all have a great one today. See you later, guys. Bye.